it's a difficult thing to do, to look behind the curtain of our food system, because there's a lot of suffering for the animals. There's also a lot of suffering actually for human beings. And yet I think it's also the most powerful, positive, helpful, benevolent thing we can do, is to make an effort to understand the ramifications of our food choices. It's not a good idea to be well adjusted to a sick society. And I think all of us understand, in a sense, that even though we want to be well adjusted, we want to fit in, we want to eat what everybody's eating when we go to the different, functions, but in a certain sense, it's not healthy for us to be eating meat, dairy products, and eggs for the environment, for our own health. So this revolution took a long time. It took thousands of years. Very gradually, over many generations, people started more and more to see nature as something that you own, and to see animals as something either as beings that you own as property, or all the other animals that were not owned as property, the sheep and the goats and the cows and so forth, and later pigs and chickens and so forth. Everything else, all the other animals, were potential pests. We had this idea, they could bother us. They could, the wolves and the coyotes and the prairie dogs and the bears and the bobcats and the foxes and lions, whatever. We have to kill them because they might hurt our property, And the very first science was basically men figuring out how they could dominate female animals. Because it was basically the females, yes, the domination of the feminine, it was basically the female animals who were the ones that were the source of wealth. So they started impregnating these females against their will. Today they do it on dairies, they call it a rape rack. They just inseminate them with a sperm gun, referred to as patriarchy, or men dominating women arose, because men were not only dominating animals and seeing these animals merely as breeders. They would just impregnate them, and the science was to have babies that would give more milk and have more meat and have more fur, more wool, and so forth. They began to look at women gradually as mere objects to breed, and so they'd have better, bigger boys and so forth, better warriors.
Potem pa druga stran te knjige, ki je pa meni tudi bila zelo ljuba, je pa to sočutje, se pravi vzbujati v ljudeh sočutje, jih pripeljati k tej svoji resnici, da v bistvu dojamejo, da ozavestijo, da so živali krasna bitja, čuteča, inteligentna.